SMD Law is the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Check them out on the interwebs at smdalaw.com or at 866-529-3537. No matter where you are in the state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, it doesn't matter. They have an office near you. So whether you need to send a letter to an annoying neighbor, or you're a criminal and you need defense, maybe you just have problems with elder law, check them out, smdalaw.com today. The official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Call them first, then you act.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Spartan Nation Radio down here in Sterling Heights at SMD Law, the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Remember, anytime you need an attorney anywhere within the borders of the state of Michigan, whether you are a flat-out scumbag criminal, whether you need help with elder law, you need to get rid of a speeding ticket, or you need help with estate planning, no matter what it is, maybe a letter to an annoying neighbor, it doesn't matter. If you need an attorney, it is SMD Law. Find them on the internet at smdalaw.com, smdalaw.com, or 866-529-3537, the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. And remember, you call them first, and then you act. Very excited, as always, anytime we're down here, to be joined by the Grand Poobah of SMD Law. And by the way, there has been a junior Poobah sighting. Ryan Gasecki is here in the building. But the Grand Poobah, Jeff Michalowski. Jeff, reach across that table and shake my hand. How are you, buddy?
Great, Hondo. Good to see you again. I haven't seen you since that whole Polish-American Sports Hall of Fame thing last November, October, when that was, right?
I had a blast that night.
Oh, that was great. Not only was the food good.
The food was amazing. And I have to tell you, I love Polish food, and the only thing I didn't like was there was no cheese. What is wrong with me? I'm such a cheese addict. I'm going to bring cheese if you have me back next year. But it was so much, and John Wangler, you may remember, had comments on that show, the legendary Michigan quarterback, that sent Michigan fans into a fury. It started a social media nightmare when he said, we spend too much time focusing on Ohio State and not enough on Michigan State. That was quite a show.
It was. It was a great show, and I thought it was eye-opening from both a non-Michigan State standpoint and, of course, a good old green and white standpoint. But some of the interviews we could get out of that event are great. So maybe we'll welcome you back this year, and I'll make sure we get some cheese on the menu.
I hope so. Now, you and I got a very special guest tonight, a very dear friend of mine. He has done an absolutely superior job taking over Michigan State. And let me tell you something. In just a short period of time, Michigan State's raised $7.5 million for some much needed work at Munn Arena. The program's trajectory is going through the ceiling. Recruiting is killing it. And by the way, because I know sometimes people tune in who are not as abreast of NCAA rules, he can't speak about recruits who haven't signed letters of intent. So if you understand us talking about recruiting and its generalizations, it's because that is the rules, but I'm proud to call him my friend. He is a super father, an amazing husband, a great coach, and a great friend, the one, the only, the great Danton Cole. Coach, as always, it's great to see you, my friend.
Thanks for having me here. It's good to be here.
Now, it's fun to be down here. I know that you like to get out and meet people. I know you enjoy the program, and I want to talk hockey, and I promise before you go we'll talk hockey, but I am so excited about what's coming to Munn Arena. They had raised about $500,000 when you got the job. And how long have you been there now?
Just over a year.
Yeah, 14 months, right?
A year ago, April. Yes.
Okay. And now you've raised $8 million, and you can't say this. I can say this. I was told by a board member that at some point here pretty soon we're probably going to have something to talk about. But it's exciting. How excited are you about the facelift coming to the beautiful Munn Arena?
Well, it is exciting. I think that's the best way to phase it. And since I've got here, we've talked about four main things, and one was creating an atmosphere or a hockey program where elite players want to come. Second thing was recruiting those elite players. Third thing was getting Munn back to being I think I said at my initial press conference, a snake pit. Like it was when I was playing here, and the thing that ties all that in together is getting Munn up to speed. And we need some upgrades, and we're working on it. The Spartan Fund's done a great job. Guys have really worked hard on it. And I think we're kind of getting over the hump, and hopefully by next summer we'll be getting some stuff done and getting Munn ramped up and getting it on par with the other programs in the Big Ten.
Now I'm going to let you, because only you know what you can talk about and what you can't. Unfortunately, I hear things from board members And just a board member can tell me anything he wants. He's elected by the people. You can't. So I don't really want to ask you, because I may ask you something that a board member has told me, and you're like, I don't want Bill Beekman thinking I'm the one that told you that, Hondo. So if whatever you can say, because I know you're not going to tell me anything off the record, you're so tight-lipped, but can you at least tell us what you're allowed to talk about publicly about the new facility, and not new, but certainly major renovations to
Right, yeah, and that's probably the biggest thing, is that it isn't new. We've done, our MSU has done a great job with the interior and the fan experience of Munn Ice Arena. You know, we've redone the ice plant, the boards, the stands, the video boards. MSU's put about $10 to $12 million into the arena already, and we're looking to add 15-16 million to the arena, and really what it'll be the Munn side of the arena will build out into that. So the integrity of the bowl of the arena won't change, but we'll have new locker rooms, new weight room, new offices, meeting rooms downstairs, shooting rooms. So really get it to be state of the art. The interior of the arena is great, and now just the student athlete experience is what we need to work on.
Danton, one of the things that I don't think fans understand, especially guys our age, we go to a hockey game, I want to see hockey. But nowadays, you got to have internet because people want to put selfies. They want to check in on Facebook. I took a picture last year of the Izzone and showed it to Izzo, and I thought I was going to give him an aneurysm. I mean, literally, 75% of them with the game going on. You can see this in my picture. They're on their cell phones. I felt later on. I called him at home like about 1 a.m. I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he was still mad about the picture I took, and they won the game by 25 points. But people don't think as much about the fan experience as when we were growing up, do they?
No, it's different, and it's a lot more interactive. And I think there was a story last week that at Spartan Stadium with the football games this year that fans are going to be able to text things out or pictures, and those go up. And I think that's just the state of where we're at. And one goal we have as a family with dinner is we try and leave our phones away from the table. With three daughters, it's not always that easy. But it's the reality of the way things are, and I think you need to address that and move forward. And when the buggy whip industry went out of business because of Ford, things changed, and we have to kind of keep up with that, and hopefully by doing some of the stuff we will.
All right, Dan, I want to ask you about, again, when you and I remember going and watching you play at Munn, it was you grabbed maybe a bag of Michigan State caramel corn because nobody makes it better, a hot dog, and a pop. Now people want variety in food. They're looking, and of course, Michigan State's accommodating. There's so much great food up on the concourse. Are you shocked at how it really has become entertainment? I mean, the game is important. If you're not winning, people aren't in the seats. But also, when you get there, they have to be entertained, don't they?
Well, they do, and I spent a decent amount of time in pro hockey, and especially.
Wait, let's not be humble. Well, you killed it.
But at the minor league level and coaching there, and what they have to do to get people into a game, or if you've been to a minor league baseball game, those guys are the gonzo marketers. I think they understand how to do it. But you're right, people need to be entertained. It's the it's CNN headline news kind of era where if you don't have 4 things running across the screen plus some action going on, people lose interest. And that's how kids are, and it's even that way in coaching. You have to know how kids learn now. It's not the same way. It used to be, Mace could come in and talk to us and, hey, this and this is what we're going to do. Now you've got to figure out different ways to teach them and keep their interest, and have to have video involved, and that's the job, is figuring out how to teach, and then as a promoter, I guess, figuring out how to entertain.
Mark D'Antonio once, I remember when he discovered YouTube, and I was a little struck because I've known him for so long, and I didn't know what YouTube was at the time. And he's like, "Hey, I found this thing, YouTube." I'm like, "What is it?" He goes, "It's like videos, and you show them to your team, and they get it because they're millennials." Mm-hmm. It's amazing though how things change. I mean, my son literally, we saw a rotary phone the other day. He's 13. He said, "Dad, what's that?" I said, "It was a phone." He goes, "Like from when?" I go, "Like when I was a kid." He goes, "Well, how did you carry it?" I go, "You didn't, son. It sat on the desk or sat on the wall." Goes, "Well, what did you do when you were in the car? Talk to your parents or looked out the window?" "Well, how'd you call your friends?" "We went over to their house." It's amazing because when you come from because you have to remember, like Izzo says, he goes, "The hardest thing for me is every year I'm older and my players stay the same age." you got to keep reinventing yourself, don't you?
Well, you do, and you have to figure out a way to connect with the younger guys and younger athletes. But I think it's if you stay engaged with them, I think they understand that there's some things you're not going to get right away, and there's always some good moments. It's kind of funny when I actually know something that they're doing and catch them doing it or whatever the newest way that they communicate. But it is funny with the videos, and we'll do it every once in a while. We'll make a reference to Caddyshack or Fletch or Slapshot or something like that, and the guys, they'll have no idea. So it is kind of nice because then we'll throw the movie on in the bus, or we'll, Fasty will get some clips and we'll put it on the next day. And sometimes they think it's funny, sometimes they think we're out of our minds, but it's good. You connect with them. I think at the end of the day, athletes are athletes and kids are kids, and I think you have to break through those barriers, and then you get down to the point where you're dealing with them. They want to get better at hockey, and we're figuring that out and helping them figure out some things in life, and that's probably the best part I like is when you get past all that and you get down to the what you're teaching them and what they're going to carry on with them.
Awesome. When we come back, and remember, we are in Sterling Heights at our SMD studios. Remember, the official law firm of Spartan Nation is SMD Law. You can find them on the internet at smdalaw.com or at 4444444444444 Mound Road. Dear God, it's like 4 followed by pi. 4444444 Mound Road in Sterling Heights. smdalaw.com, 866-529-3537. The official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Call them first, then you act. We've got the Grand Poobah. Jeff is here. The Junior Poobah will probably make an appearance later, I promise. And plenty more on the Spartan Nation Radio Network. Welcome back to Spartan Nation Radio, everybody, here in Sterling Heights, Michigan at our SMDA Law Studios. It's always great to be here. Remember, when you need an attorney for any reason, maybe you have an annoying neighbor that just needs you to tell your dog to shut the hell up after midnight. Or maybe you're just a stupid criminal and you're fighting with drowning with one nose halfway above the water because you're on your way to jail. Or maybe you just need help with estate planning, probate. Maybe you just cheated on your wife with everybody, including her mom, and she just found out and you're getting divorced. Or maybe that scumdog man just cheated with your mom and you need to get rid of him. Whatever. They're your full-service law firm, the official law firm of the Spartan Nation, anywhere in the state of Michigan. So if you're up there, way up in the Yoop, where you are fighting against one of the Great Lakes and your neighbors are bears, they'll help you. Or you're across the bridge in beautiful Cadillac, or down along the East Coast or the West Coast, or down along the border of Indiana or Ohio, wherever you're at. In the state of Michigan, they're Michigan's full-service law firm. It's SMD Law. Remember, call them first, then you act, because if you act first, you're going to cost yourself a ton of money. You're going to look like an idiot. You're not an attorney. You do not want to go for open heart surgery and be told, well, I'm not a doctor, but I'm an attorney. And guess what? You don't want an open heart surgeon when you need an attorney. You want the best, and the best means SMD Law. All right, Jeff from SMD Law, the Grand Poobah. The Junior's going to join us later. He's here, but pretty interesting segment with Danton to start.
Oh, great segment. Like I said before, I think last show I was on, how impressed I am by how all the Michigan State head coaches seem to be almost a mold of each other. They share the same values, honest integrity. It's really great to see a staff that comes together and represents the university as a whole.
I agree with you. Now, you are a big hockey guy.
Oh, I love hockey.
I know that you love, I'm trying to say it, he says it's so funny, he says hockey. But you are a big hockey guy.
Oh, I love hockey. We play in the beer leagues on Sundays over at Rochester Onyx. It's a lot of fun.
Now, here's the bad part. When you go to beer league, and there's that one guy that thinks he's like a stud from back in the day, and then you see guys like Danton, and what really pisses me off about Danton is you go to practice, and he skates better than some of his players. Now, granted, he played in the NHL for, had a great long career. But, Dan, you make us old guys look really bad in the bear leagues. You know that, right?
Well, it's, we all have our talent stack, things we can do. But, yeah, it's fun skating. I enjoy it. I put the skates up all summer, and I'll pick them up from the first day of practice. But that's probably one of my favorite things. Yeah, no, I don't get on the ice very often in the summer. Just very little, and try and stay away from it. And I try and tell the players that sometimes too. And we were talking about young guys early on and young athletes, mix it up and do some other stuff. But yeah, when practice comes back, I want to be energized. I want to be excited. And but I love getting out and skating and goofing around with the guys before and after practice. And but they're a lot better than I am. They're bigger and stronger these days.
Now, yeah, but they're bigger and stronger. But I want to say this: one of the funniest stories I heard about you last year was, because you're trying to teach, you're trying to get guys to understand. Here's my standard, and you were very, very good. You don't play, and I know you're humble, Dan, and I love that about you. But the reality of the truth is, you were one of the elite players in the world for a long time. You don't get to where you were if you weren't an elite player, and that's who you were. And that's a testimony to your work ethic, your parents, all of that. So you should give credit where credit's due and don't play humble. But they're like, Coach jumped in a drill, and they're like, oh, that's how he wants it done. And he goes, and one of the guys like, wow. He must have been really good because he's old now. And I'm like, wait a minute, don't say he's old. Do you understand? Yeah. But I mean, that has to be of some value. Like Izzo will always say to some kid will come in, some 5-star guard, and he'll say, who ripped the kid? And the kid's like, Coach, I made 90 of 100 free throws. And Izzo will make 99. Oh. Okay, I see what you mean. It's got to help that you can put the skates on and you can okay, guys, I've been where you want to go, and I'm still better than you now.
Yeah, it does. And when I think teaching-wise, I think especially athletically, you want to, you talk to the guys about how it needs to feel when you do something. I think in the way the brain works, that's a pretty good way to go through it. So if you can actually go through and do it, that does help. I don't think it's 100% necessary, but there is. If you jump in a drill, there's an awful lot of pressure not to mess up. And I know I've jumped in a couple times, and you fumble the puck or whatever. But the guys get a good laugh. Either they get a good laugh out of it when you mess up, or you do it right and they understand what you're talking about. But there's lots of different ways to teach, and like I said, I love the game and love to jump in, and I can still shoot it a little bit and have some fun with the guys.
Dan, I want to ask you about something that I think is fascinating about hockey, and I really want your perspective on this. You're recruiting kids right now that are 13 years old. I mean, Izzo may go see a kid, in 7th grade, whatever, but kids are committing now at 13 because the way as advanced as hockey is. I don't think the average fan understands. You're going to be here a few years. You're going to be here 4 or 5 years before you get your first full Danton Cole recruiting class.
Yeah, it's a different time schedule, and Joe Exter, one of our assistants, kind of takes the lead in recruiting. He's in charge of it, and you look at the timeline. It's about an 8-year timeline when you start talking to young men to when they might get on campus, and I think it's too long. I think it's too young, and we've really hesitated to go. I think that young. I personally don't think the young man at that point. I've had kids that age really know where they want to be. They want the guarantee, I think, of a scholarship and some kind of certainty. I don't think the team knows where they're going to be either. And so many things change when young men are 14 and 15 and 16 years old. So I think it does a disservice to just about everyone involved. So, but that's where we're kind of at in the game. I think the NCAA took some good steps last year in terms of slowing everything down to where we can't talk to young men on campus until Christmas of their sophomore year, halfway through their sophomore year, and just slow it down a little bit. And I think that's a lot saner. Families can still call, they can still verbally commit to a university, but that's without being on a campus, that's without knowing the coaches. And I just think as a parent, if my son or daughter doesn't know the coach where they're going to go and spend 4 years of their life, if they haven't spent some time with them, I'd be real hesitant to commit. And we'll talk to people. I think it's good though. You establish a relationship, get to know them. But I think it's too young, and hopefully we're reversing that.
My son is 13. And so here is the question that I have for you. Who recruits a 13-year-old and takes a verbal commitment? Because he's 13. I gained almost 17 inches between 13 and 18 graduate, literally 17 inches of height and over 100 pounds. So what happens? You get this, it's like a girl who's a 10 at 2, but a 2 at 10. I mean, you get this kid at 10, at 13 who looks good, but what if he ends up looking like me?
You don't know. And again, I'll go back to Joe, and he, he's in charge and he kind of runs it. And we've talked a lot about it as a staff. You don't know, and you better not check every box, but check every box twice before that commitment. And I think you're wrong more often than you're right. And not just, athletically it might be a good fit, but you might find that, educationally or personality that, a lot of things change. They might, that young man at that point might not be a good fit for your program. And, if you look and listen to, the best coaches out there, they'll talk about that. The best teams beat the best talent all the time. And that's what we're interested in building here. So we're real hesitant about it. I think you start a relationship, but, if you can't call a young man, can't have them on campus, can't get them around your team, I think it's really hard to find out if they're going to fit into the culture that you're trying to build.
But how much does it hurt? Because the folks in Canada, they're recruiting them for junior hockey, and so they're going after them when you can't even talk to them.
Yeah, and part of the reason we got a little bit of relief from the NCAA with 10th graders, because we can talk to them before the CHL drafts. So we do have a little bit of an opportunity to do that. College Hockey Inc. has done a great job, and that's an arm of USA Hockey, and it's supported and funded by them. They do a good job getting the word out. Our guys will go and present. Joe and Lou are going to be up in Toronto presenting to a bunch of 03s and some 04s Wednesday. So
now, when you say 03 and 04,
well, that's 13 and 14 and 15-year-olds right in that wheelhouse. So,
man.
But at least it lets you present college hockey, what the opportunities are, and then and discuss what our rules are and why we have them. I think it's a tremendously healthy thing to have, and it's good for the parents to realize that, hey, let your sons and daughters, let them be kids for a bit and let them get better and let them figure out what they want to do, because we've all been around enough kids that are that age. You're talking about your son at 13. They don't have a good idea. Mm-hmm. And to make that commitment, then I want to say it's probably in the 70% range. The commitments end up being broken. So, what are we teaching our young guys at that point to do that and then decide they want to go somewhere else, or it doesn't work out at the university, and just too many things change.
My son, I told you he's 13, played 4 sports. He had 2 particular sports where coaches came to him and said, listen, we think you can be really good. We'd like you to focus on this sport. And I said, hell no. He's 13. He just turned 13. So he was 12 when they wanted him, 11 and 12. I think I know how you feel. I know how D'Antonio and Izzo feels. They think it's nuts for these kids specializing in one sport. And both of them said to me, if I got a chance at a kid who specialized in one sport or played 5, who maybe on film doesn't look as good, I'm taking the kid that played 5 because I know work ethic, whatever. Are you one of these people that supports go out and play other sports?
Yeah, no, absolutely, Jeff. And we were talking about it beforehand. It's, I think guys should play as many sports. And the best advice I heard was the strength and conditioning coach from out in Boston that was a mentor to the guy that we had at USA Hockey. And Mike was was giving a speech, and one of the parents said, what should my 10-year-old be doing this summer? And Mike answered, he said he should be riding a bike and playing with friends. And I just think we get so focused in on one sport, and what if that one sport doesn't work out, or what if Junior doesn't like that sport, and you just be well-rounded, play a lot of different things. The long-term development model, there's so many fascinating scientific things that there's so many benefits to doing different things, and you might find that, hey, that 5th sport you play, that's the one you really love, or you just never know where you're going to be. But athletically, it is so much better to play sports. I love when guys can play other sports and drop in baseball, or can run and play football and do some things.
Izzo and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago, but actually a couple months ago, but there's so many injuries in basketball, and I think it's because it's AAU, high school, where they use the same muscles. Sometimes it's good to get kids out using other muscles.
Yeah, no, the repetitive stress injuries it's a real thing, and they're doing the same thing. They're saying, the same neurological pathways in their brains, and you need to change, you need to challenge it. So it makes sense, but not a lot of people listen. So I'm Don Quixote chasing windmills sometimes, but I'll keep saying it.
We are here at SMD Law. Remember, find them on the internet, smdalaw.com, the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. You call them first, and then you act. 866-529-3537. So whether you need to just send a letter to an annoying neighbor saying, listen, you need to stop parking on my grass, or maybe you're having a problem with elder law and you need to get all your estate set up. Maybe it's disability insurance. Maybe your husband cheated on you and you're going to take him to the cleaners, or maybe your wife is just a scumbag, or maybe you're just a dirtball criminal trying to keep your ass out of jail. They are the full-service law firm. They take care of everybody. Trust me, they love everybody. You want smdlaw.com. Find them on the internet, smdalaw.com. The Grand Poobah is here, Jeff Michalowski, the Junior Poobah, and why I'm going to prove Jeff should be a college coach. Next on Spartan Nation Radio with Danton Cole. Welcome back to Spartan Nation Radio here at our SMD Law Studios in Sterling Heights, Michigan. I'm your host, Hondo Carpenter, joined, of course, by the Grand Poobah of SMD Law, Jeff Michalowski. Jeff, are you enjoying it?
Oh, this is fun. It's always a blast to have a special guest down here.
And it's cool to have the kids in the house. And I've got to tell you, the best line ever, I have my hockey head hair. Now, you got to tell everyone the story there.
Yep, I have, today I have my 7-year-old Alex with me and my 10-year-old Mitchell.
And if you go to my Twitter right now, you've got to see the picture of Alex and Mitchell. Alex is the one with the hair, though. I do not have no hair. Take the hat off. I want everyone to see the hockey hair. All right, now, Jeff, here's why you should be a coach, okay?
Okay.
Because you're not an attractive man. I don't mean to be rude, but you're not an attractive man. Your wife is stunningly beautiful. And I'm guarantee you the only way you got your wife is, hey, baby, I'm going to be an attorney. Take the plunge with me. I know I'm ugly, but guess what? I'm going to be an attorney. Bet on the come here. Marry me, honey. And so now she just puts your checkbook in front of your face when she has to kiss you. Tell me I'm not lying, because by the way, if you go to my Twitter right now, you see a picture of Jeff and his beautiful wife, Chris. But if you met her, she's stunningly beautiful. And the thing I love most about her is she's as beautiful as a person as she is inwardly. Inwardly as outwardly. It's pretty cool. It's very rare. But admit, you probably should have been a coach.
Probably should have been a coach.
And here's the best line. The first time I ever used that line, your dad's like, amen. I thought I was in an evangelical church. So, joined, of course, by the great Danton Cole. Now, I know this because you're involved in hockey and you're involved in baseball. You like to hear Coach talking about play multiple sports.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I think some of the things that we come against in at least the MABF, the Macomb Amateur Baseball Federation, is there are a lot of coaches out there that preach you got to start specializing even at 7 and 8 years old. And to me, that's everything wrong with youth sports. I started my organization to be a little bit different. We came up with the idea that we want multi-sport athletes to have a platform to play more competitive baseball, and that's exactly what we're about. We have other coaches that are former college players, local educators, and also current high school varsity coaches that are giving instruction to the kids and making sure they're doing other stuff in the winter and the fall. Baseball season's baseball season, football season's football season, and hockey, well, I guess it's almost year-round nowadays, but it could be shortened up a bit to give the kids an opportunity.
When my son Duff was 7 years old playing Little League Baseball, they had a kid there that was a pretty decent pitcher for 7. And I'm sitting at practice one day, and I don't ever get to go to, because I travel so much covering Michigan State, I don't get to go to everything. So if I can go to a practice even, I'll just go sit in on a practice. And the head coach is trying to teach his kid how to throw a curveball. So I call up a Detroit Tiger, a very good friend of mine, very well-known pitcher, and I'm like, I'm sitting at practice right now watching my son's 7th grade coach try to teach a 7th grader how to throw a curveball. And he goes on an expletive rage, just goes crazy. And I walked over and I said, Coach, I just talked to so-and-so. I'll tell you off air who it was. I just talked to this Tiger, and he goes, oh, BS. I go, all right. So I'm like, I go to the kid's parents, and I go, listen, Coach is trying to teach your kid how to throw a curveball. This is really bad for him. So then I called Dr. Lanny Johnson, one of the world's most renowned orthopedic surgeons. This is a man who's done surgeries on over 1,500 professional athletes. Walter Payton, when he broke the NFL record, had him on the field with him, said, this man, I won this record because of him. He saved Larry Bird's career. The man has over 1,000 medical patents. In fact, every hospital in the world uses one of his instruments, one of his inventions every day. At least one. Some of them hundreds, but at least one, even the most outskirt, okay? So I called Dr. Lane Johnson. He goes, that's insane. That man should be arrested. So I go to the parents. I tell the parents this. So the Tiger calls me that night, mad as a hornet after the Tiger game. He goes, you got to come down here. I want you to shoot a video. I want you to ask me that question. So I go down the next night to a Tiger game, and I'm at his locker, and I go, hey, buddy, can I, and I had my camera on, so he goes, well, Hondo, I want to talk to you about what you called me about last night. A coach teaching a 7-year-old how to throw a curve, and he went on like a several-minute rampage. And my point is, some of these people, they're asinine. I mean, trying to make kids specialized, trying to teach kids how to throw curveball, or we talked about repetitive injuries, Danton. At some point, they got to be a kid. How do you fall in love with a kid? It's like going on a first date. We all had that one date where that one girl goes, so where do you see this going? Okay, I was thinking maybe an ice cream cone, not going to an altar. You know what I mean? Am I wrong? Where am I wrong here, Danton?
No, it's. But I think we've talked a little bit about it in some different categories. The sign of the times, and I think it's and give parents the benefit of the doubt. I think it's they care about their kids and they want the best for them, and they're being told that this is the best thing to do. And I think it's up to a lot of us that do have a bit of a platform and coaches that are coaching guys at a higher level, to make sure that we keep saying and giving them, just like you did there, giving them the information and the ability to say that this isn't the right thing for it. But, it's going to come down to parents understanding and doing the right thing, and it's just better for the young people. And in the end of the day, they got to figure that out. But you keep preaching and you keep talking to people, and hopefully they keep learning.
Jeff, I've got a question for you, and normally you join us each and every week to do answer people's legal questions. This week, of course, this is going to be your segment, but I got one I have to read for you. It comes to us from Gloria and Rick, okay?
All right.
Gloria and Rick sent this email, and they are from Howell. Gloria and Rick, Hondo, could you please ask Jeff Michalowski something? We have a son. What are you doing?
Just showing you the score of the Little League World Series.
We're sitting here taping. Okay. And so this is when Gloria says, Hondo, we have a son, and we knew nothing about pitch counts, knew nothing about that whatsoever. Over one weekend, my son pitched over 480 pitches. A 3-game tournament, he pitched all 3 games, 480 pitches, all of the innings. Don't know if this sounds like anything, but our doctor said that coach committed a crime against our son. I don't even know. Does this sound like there's something there legally? Gloria and Rick.
Well, legally, my favorite answer to a lot of these.
No! Now wait, if Jeff was a traditional lawyer, okay, it'd be, oh yeah, come on in, see us. That's just going to be a $2,000 retainer. He turns down so much business. You can't afford to turn down business. Chris is high maintenance. She knows what she married here. No, I'm kidding. But that's your answer is no.
Yeah, I think that's more of a, when the doctor said that's more of a figure of speech, it is awful what happened. There's supposed to be rules at all these tournaments and games and leagues that limit pitch counts and pitching. A lot of times at some of these tournaments, it just goes unpoliced. So you don't have anybody actually checking the pitch counts or checking. It's kind of an honor system. And unfortunately, it sounds like that it is an honor system, and that coach just lacks a lot of honor, And as a coach, I'm sure Coach Cole would agree with me, you got to take a step back and wonder who's trying to get the win. Is it the kids or you? Mm-hmm. And if it becomes you being the most important person in the room trying to get the win, you got to take a step back and do a reality check, I think.
Dan, we've never done this with you, but I'd like to. If you are a parent of an athlete, 7 years old, whatever, what is some of the best advice you can give to parents? Because let's be honest, 1% of the kids are going to get a scholarship to go play anywhere. So the chances are, my son plays a bunch of sports, he's a couple of them he's pretty good at, and I don't have any dreams of it. I expect him to get no scholarship. None. I just don't expect it because I'm around it and I know how hard it is. If he gets it, great. And I'll support him and love him either way, but I just don't have those expectations. What would you say to parents? What's the best advice you can give parents?
Well, I'm not sure where I picked this. I think I stole this a while ago, but I always tell it to them. And I even talk to our guys, when I was with the national team and the guys here at Michigan State especially, that, there's 3 questions. And parents should probably ask their kids 3 questions after a game or a practice. One is, did you work hard? 2, were you a great teammate, not a good teammate? Third thing is, did you have fun? And really, if young people can take care of those 3 things and answer yes to all those questions, I mean, they're on the right path. They're going to get better. Things are going to go well. And, if God's willing and touches you with enough talent, you know what? You might make some money at the game someday. But I talk about those things, and those are the things you control. Those are the lessons that you get out of playing sports. And like you said, about 1% get a college scholarship, and 1% at 1% make enough money that they don't have to actually get another job when they're done playing. So, the odds are so long on that if that's your motivation, you'd be better off playing the lottery. and just get back to that thing. And then I always tell parents, if your kids can say yes to all three, then you can ask a fourth question, where do you want to go eat, and leave it at that, because take some pressure off them, let them control some things that they can control, and they should enjoy it, and they should be a great teammate, and they should work hard though. I mean that's a given. I mean if you're going to go out there and do it, you want them to get after it and everything. But that's usually what I talk to parents about, and just take the pressure off of the kids and take pressure off the parents and get back to enjoying it, and good things will work out.
I have said this to you before, so it's meant as a compliment. I consider you a friend. There are guys bigger than you, faster than you, and stronger than Danton Cole, but nobody had your will. You were going to. I literally remember watching you at Munn diving on a puck and getting the hell kicked out of you, and you looked like Rocky Balboa and Ivan Drago in Fight 1. I mean, it was just. But you can't teach. Your kid may be big, he may be fast, may be strong. You can't teach heart, can you?
No, I think there's a lot of things that kids have. And I look at my three daughters, and my happy one she was born happy. My kind of grumpy one was born grumpy, and my funny one was kind of born funny. And they didn't change a lot. And we, Deb and I tried to get them to say please and thank you, and get them going in the right direction. But there are certain intangibles that people have, and you'll hear a lot of football coaches talking about, it's a violent sport. And I was reading a Danton article that I had on my computer from Jesus, about 10 years old. But you can't teach violence to a young man if he doesn't enjoy that aspect. It was about recruiting. If he doesn't enjoy the violent part of football, then he's probably not going to be a very good football player. And heart's one of those things. But I do think in the right upbringing and the right situation, I think that's part of being a good teammate is having that heart. And if you want to go out there and do something for that guy next to you, I think you can get better at it. And certain people have an awful lot of it, and that's just their MO. And some people are really good at art, and people are good at different things. But you can get guys better at it. But that's one of my most important things. Is the guy has to have that compete or that passion or that heart or whatever you want to call it, the grit. That has to come out when you play. And it's one of those things that how do you describe it? It's hard to describe, but you know it when you see it.
He is the great Danton Cole. We're here at the SMD Law Offices. Now, when we come back for our final segment, we're going to be joined by the Junior Poobah is going to step in for a minute, and of course the Grand Poobah is here, Danton Cole, and a lot more. You're listening to Spartan Nation Radio Network. Welcome back to Sterling Heights, Michigan at our mobile SMD Law Studios. You're listening to Spartan Nation Radio. I am your host, Hondo Carpenter, joined by the great Jeff Michalowski, the Grand Poobah of SMD Law. Jeff, have you been enjoying the show?
Oh, it's been a blast so far.
Isn't Danton great?
Yeah, and you're going easy on me. So far you've only called me unattractive, and I shouldn't be a lawyer, one time a piece?
What?
It's like a track record.
Wait, I complimented your wife.
You did.
Your wife is gorgeous. She's not even in the room now. Your wife is beautiful. Don't you want your friends to tell you that you really did? I mean, do you want your friends to say, yeah, man, your wife, you deserve your wife? Or do you want them to say, dude, you could have done better than your wife? Or do you want them to say your wife's hot? Be honest.
I don't know what to say anymore, Hondo.
Yeah, because you're so politically correct.
Correct.
And so into the Little League game.
That's right.
Have you not enjoyed Danton?
Oh, Danton's a blast.
I told you.
Great. Yeah.
Great guy. Great. This was the perfect hire for Michigan State. Now, we hear from him occasionally, basically when you don't want to leave your wife, because she's so pretty, you're like, I don't want to go to the office. And Jeff will literally tell me like 5 minutes, not even that sometimes 5 seconds before his interview, I'll call the studio on a night, and I'll say, hey, Jeff, ready for an interview? And Vivian will go, it's Ryan. So we have nicknamed Ryan the Junior Poobah, who never gets warned. Ryan Grusek is here. How you doing, Junior Poobah?
Doing great. I actually got some notice this time.
Now, yeah, right. Is it not nice for you, at least? You don't have to take one question.
Yeah, that's great.
Now,
although I do enjoy some of the questions there.
No, you don't. Jeff, I have to tell you. Ryan, you tell him if this is a lie or not. Poor Ryan, every time Ryan gets a question, it's, and then he answers it. And you're like, no! I mean, it's funny because I told you before, you got to talk to him. Tell him he can have some fun with this, doesn't he?
He is having fun in his own unusual way, I know.
Now, I know his father. Your father has a very deep sense of humor.
That's true.
By the way, did you ask your dad about that, me telling you about the time at the senior banquet?
Yes,
when I
did.
Stood on the table and sang? Did you ask him?
Yes.
Did he not remember it?
Yeah, he did.
I literally thought your father was having an aneurysm. Because I got up there, and I remember, now this is the late 80s. So rap is not rap. And so we're doing the junior senior banquet. So me and a couple of friends decide to rap a song. And we had a guy there who named Harry Ingalls. And he was assistant principal. And I literally made this rap that just mocked him. And his father was our assistant principal, stood in the back and literally doubled over and held his stomach and came up to me afterwards and goes, I may be suspending you tomorrow, but I want you to know that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. So Junior Poobah, have you enjoyed having Danton here?
Oh yeah, it's been fantastic and very nice to meet you.
Now, how much have you enjoyed being with the firm? Tell the truth.
Oh yeah.
Remember now, the Grand Poobah is sitting 6 inches to your left. How much have you enjoyed being part of the firm?
I really have enjoyed it.
How nice is it to be part of a firm where it isn't just about taking every case will come their way? I mean, somebody comes in here and says, hey, I want to sue McDonald's. I had a cup of coffee sitting on my nuts and I spilt it. I mean, Jeff's going to tell him, get the hell out. I mean, if you're dumb enough to put a coffee thing in the middle of a thoroughway traffic on your nuts, it's your fault. Isn't it nice to be at a real firm?
Well, first of all, I think that would be a good case. But no, secondly, yeah, no, it is great to have support and stuff like that where, I can feel free to take cases that I like and that I think are really good.
I'm going to tell you a funny story, Jeff. You tell me if I'm lying. Jeff had been a sponsor with us for about 4 months, and a lady Spartan from Troy calls and gets a hold of Jeff, and Jeff goes, "Ma'am, I don't think that we would want to represent you in this case." And literally, she sends me this. I know that you say on air that he doesn't take every case. But do you know how rude that is? And I wanted to help him, and I'm a Spartan. He wouldn't take my... And I literally remember the next time he was on the show, like, Jeff, I heard you turn down a case. He goes, well, Hondo, I mean it. We don't always take every case. If we don't think it's a legitimate legal action, we don't want the court to look at a docket of our cases and say, oh, great, another one of them. I always thought that was brilliant. Do you not? Are you disagreeing with the philosophy of the Grand Poobah?
Absolutely not, because, you want to make a good impression with the court and all the judges and things like that. So
you're a butt kisser.
Well,
in a way.
You got to do something.
All right, so that is the Junior Poobah. We always love having the Junior P on. He's a good guy. He's so funny, and he's one of the good guys. I've known his family forever. His father is just an absolute saint of a human being. Then we come to the guest of honor, the great Danton Cole. Danton, I'm so excited about what's coming to Munn Arena. They're going to hear about this very soon. There are still a lot of places where financially people can get involved. And can you talk about those?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've spent an awful lot of time, and the people in the Spartan Fund. If you go around campus, you can see the great job they've done with Spartan Stadium and Breslin and the Scandalera Center, but also over at the baseball field. There's just an awful lot, and their campaign's coming to a close, and it'll be about $300 million that they've raised once that gets all closed up. And Munn's the last thing we have left on there. So there's lots of different opportunities. We've had some really good donations and some people that obviously want Ron Mason's name involved in it. So I'm sure that'll be heavily done. But to name the center, there's a $6 million. I
was going to read some of these.
Yeah,
do you mind?
No, there's those absolutely.
Now, some of these are already taken. I know of one very high-profile, wealthy former Spartan that told me he's going to be meeting with you soon. I'm not going to name that person. But as of taping, this is available. If you want the whole hockey center named, hey, Jeff, name it the SMD Law Hockey Center. That's $6 million. You can have, now, the Hall of Honor, which is what we see like in Breslin, and we see that at football as well. You can get the Hall of Honor, that's already been bought, $2 million. The weight room's available for $2 million. The hockey office suite, just think, every day when Danton walks in the office, he can think of you. That's only $1 million, Jeff.
That's it?
You could do the SMD Law official hockey suites. The team theater has already been purchased for $1 million. The entry plaza and vestibule is $500,000. Oh, the office suite does not include the head coach's office. Way to go, Dan. You're used to that NHL life. That's only 350 G's now. That's not
I might have
bad.
to up that a little bit. I'm not sure.
No, I'm reading your literature.
All right. No, that's more than enough.
All right. The retail pro shop, $175,000. Main conference room, $150,000. Video room, $150,000. The main restrooms, that had to have been bought by a woman. That's already been bought. I'm just telling you right now, that was bought. A woman would do. Chris, come over here if you would join us for a minute. We're talking about the new hockey arena Michigan State's building. And someone has already purchased the naming rights to the main restroom. And I said, that had to be a woman. Would you not agree? Am I?
Probably.
I mean, only a woman's going to buy the restroom.
Probably.
I don't mean that to be rude, but I could totally, okay, I'll buy the restroom. Drop the mic and walk out. Okay, let's see what else is available. $100,000 for the assistant coach's office. There's 5 of those. Oh, wait, what's the difference between the office suite and then all the coaches in
I think
there?
that's the whole area. So
Oh, okay.
When you enter that area. Yeah.
All right, the reception area's already been reserved. That's already been bought. Ticket office is $75,000. Then at ice level, you can buy a locker room, player lounge. The shooting, what is a shooting room? It's like,
It's all like batting cages that they have. I mean, guys, you spend that's the point of the game is to outscore the other team, and it's a big part of it. And guys go in the shooting room and spend an awful lot of time.
I
down
have
there.
never heard of that.
Yeah.
Is that new to hockey?
I'd say relatively, but we've had one, at the, like I said, at the NTDP, we had one for the last probably 10, 12 years. We have a space on campus that we use. Our guys are over there quite a bit, but
Not at Munn, though,
not
right?
at Munn. So to have it there is something that we're really looking forward to.
Now, I can guarantee you this one. This is a community lobby, coach's locker room, coach's lounge and video ops, equipment room, training offices, hydro. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you on this one. The equipment room and training offices have already been bought. The hydro rehab area, that is needed. That's a big one. Is people do not understand how much that is important in athletics, is it?
Yeah, it's outstanding. When we have the the treadmills and all the capabilities over at the football building. It's outstanding. But that carries a lot of load when you have all the athletes heading over there. So hopefully we can get one of those and our guys can use it right on site.
And there'll be 28 lockers in the locker room. You can buy one of those for $50,000.
Right.
So again, folks, there's lots of ways to get involved. Munn Ice Arena it's 2.0.
We've had 25 of our former athletes or hockey players have gotten involved and are accountable for about $2.7 million, and real proud of that. And I think that number is going to grow as we move forward here as well.
I agree with you. Now let me just say this: I was told, and I don't know if you're allowed to talk numbers. I was told by an MSU board member he thought it'd be $20 million to renovate Munn. Is that a figure close to?
Yeah, they probably know a lot more of the ins and outs and how those things land up. It's about a $15 or $16 million project, and
leave it to a board member to tack a little extra on.
You may by the
what's
time,
a little 20% among friends?
By the time architecture and everything gets done, I'm guessing they're probably more reasonable. So yeah, we'll keep recruiting right through or fundraising right on through and get the money that we need.
Awesome. So make sure you get involved with Munn Arena. It's going to be great. Okay, I got it. Torrey Krug, I love Torrey. One of the nicest human beings. Just it's funny because out where he plays hockey, I'll do a radio interview a couple times a year out there about him, and they're all like, everybody loves him. The fans love him. He's out at restaurants. He'll sign. He'll take any pictures. They just said everybody in Boston loves him. So I asked him once, I said, how'd you become a defenseman? And it's the funniest story. He goes, I guarantee you, and that's your forte. He goes, I guarantee you almost every defenseman will tell you this. I was the only kid on my Little League team, and he called it Little League, who could skate backwards. Is that true? Is that how you become a defenseman?
That's a good way to start. We see a big kid, walking around. We're always, hey, find out if that guy can skate backwards. So not a bad way. So to get started, but whatever led him to that position, he's electrifying and he's outstanding the way he plays. And I think the best thing he's done with his game is. I think at first he was used a lot situationally, and he's probably frustrated with that a little bit. Power play and offensive situations, and now he's found himself into being one of the top defensemen, and he gets off matchups against other teams' better lines and fully utilized. So he's really done a great job, and as an underrated guy all the way through from a junior player to being not drafted to being an outstanding hockey player in the National Hockey League. It's pretty fun progress to see.
We've went through an entire show and haven't really looked ahead to the next season. I am so excited about this year. Very young team, but boy, there's a ton of talent on that roster. It just really young, but I like this roster. I like these teams. I love these kids. How about you?
Yeah, the thing we're real excited. We spent a little bit of time talking with our freshmen at the end of the summer, and Dr. Rosen has talked to them and kind of gone through. One thing they all their biggest surprise was how close the team was and how accepting they were of the freshmen. And that's like a parent, hearing about their kids that, boy, your son or daughters are really polite and they were nice to have over at our house, and they, carried their dishes up after dinner. So it was a really good thing to hear, because that's something that we've been really pounding on. And culture's a tricky thing, and it's hard to establish, and it's really hard to keep, and you got to work at it every day. And I think our guys have got an idea of it. Doesn't mean we get away from it, but we keep pounding on it. But that reception is really good, and that'll be important, because this is a group of guys coming in that have a look in their eye that they expect to play, and they're going to drive the older guys. And I warn the older guys at the end of the year, the class coming in is going to push them, and they're going to probably take some of their spots, and it's up to them. Hey, the players will decide who plays, but at the end of the day, we're a team, and we're trying to get to a place. So I'm excited. I'm still preaching a little bit of patience. We're still going to be young. We're still in a really good league, but we're going to be better this year, and we're moving in the right track. And if our freshmen can be sophomores, like Coach Izzo says, if they can be sophomores after Christmas, we'll be a pretty dangerous team this year.
I have said since you took the job, I expect Michigan State to be competitive in 2021. That's kind of the first year. And then the 21-22 is when I expect people to be able to say, okay, I expect us to compete for a Big Ten title. Competitive the year before, which means competitive to be in a hunt. But then you can start after that next year, 21-22, looking for that. Am I being realistic? And you and I are good enough friends if you think I'm full of crap. You say, "Hunter, I'm full of crap."
No, I think that's fair. And it's 18-19, and our real, our next goal, we want to be in a situation where we're hosting a series in the Big Ten playoffs, and with 7 teams, that puts you in the top 4, and that's probably getting you in the NCAA, and that's kind of our next phase of where we want to be, and then you started looking, hey, compete for a Big Ten title. But there's definitely some rebuilding that's being done and still needs to be done. But I'm very excited, and I know I kind of pretty stoic most of the time. I kind of stay probably a little too level on things, but I'm excited about the direction the guys have had, the things they've done in the offseason. I love the way we finished last year, just to compete. And I told our guys at the end of the year, I said, we might not have been a championship team. I go, but every championship team I've been around has had this mentality. And the way you guys worked, and the way you didn't quit, and the way you guys stuck together, those are the intangibles that you have to have, and they had them. Now the trick is, as you keep getting better, is to keep that mentality.
Awesome. He is the great Danton Cole here from Sterling Heights, Michigan at our SMD studios. Thanks for joining us tonight, Dan.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you for having us, Jeff.
Always a pleasure.
Junior Poobah, tell Dad hi.
Hey Bruce, how you doing?
All right, see y'all later. 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 All right, see y'all.